Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? Well, I'll tell you, I had a crazy night last night. Woke up this morning, I was like, honey, what did we do? And she let me read a bunch of shit. I was like, oh, God, no. It was fun. Last night we announced that something we've been planning for a while. We're going to distribute the movie ourselves under Smodcast Pictures banner, take it on the road like a movie style in the old days. We used to take Gone with the Wind from city to city to city. That's the first part of it. For me, and again, like some people have taken great fucking consternation with some of the shit I said last night, and I guess I can't be shocked by that to some degree, but it's not personal. I'm not saying don't sell your movies. By all means, everyone wants to do it, that's fine. I've been doing this for 17 years, though. I think I can make this decision for myself. I'm not saying this is the way everybody has to do it. This is the only way I could do it with this movie. While we were making it, I was just like, I don't know, I just can't see selling it. We're too invested. I like it, and it's small enough. The budget's small enough where $4 million is not that difficult to get back. But if we start piling marketing costs on top of it, it's going to be impossible to get back. Throw $20 million on top of that $4 million to market it, then I got to make $50 million before the movie sees profit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a Catholic. I've got to make money for people when I borrow it from them to make a movie and shit. So what we're going to do is take the movie out on the road. We're starting at Radio City Music Hall on, what we call Radio City Music Hall. March 5th, it starts there, and then we go out across the country. There's about 15 dates planned for the first tour. Then we'll probably wait 2 months, go back out on the road again. And we're going to keep doing that until we get our $4 million budget back for our investors, so that by the time we come out on screens, October 19th, we'll be fully in profit. And basically every penny we make at that point is just profit. We're not going to spend any money on marketing, no TV spots, no outdoor, no print media. We're just going to do it ourselves via Twitter and the Smodcast network that I've got. So I don't know, it's just after 17 years, I came up here, and it's weird. I'm in the same position I was when I came here 17 years ago. I don't have a distributor, but I do have a distributor. I mean, I'm my own. And the thing is, I just feel, you know, a lot of people are like, what an idiot, he's a fucking asshole, he'll never do it. They always say that when you do anything. But for me, it's like, why not try this? Like, I've released 9 movies the traditional way, and I've studied it for 17 years now, and I know what happens. Like, it's the same permutation over and over. Why not just try this by virtue of the fact that I haven't done this yet? You know, when you keep doing something for as long as you do, when you create art for a living, and some people, you know, of course, don't feel it's art, but it's art. It's a film festival. It must be art. If you create art for a living, every once in a while you have to fucking like poke something straight up your ass and be like, remember that scene in fucking True Grit where, the new True Grit, not the other one, where, Jeff Bridges has a little girl and he's riding on a horse and the horse is just giving out and shit like that. And he's like, go! And he stabs it in the leg and the horse takes off. This is me stabbing my horse in the leg, essentially. Or myself in the foot, I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out soon. But long and short of it is like this, taking it out by myself, I'm not judging anybody else, but for me to be truly independent, like I would like to be, like I was 17 years ago when I came here, this just is the only way that makes sense to me. I love the movie. I want to take it myself to the people. And I'm not asking anybody to come that doesn't want to go. That's fine. Like, you don't. I'm not saying, oh, everybody's got to come out. I'm just selling to my audience. Now, I've been chided for this morning in a few pieces where people are like, oh, he's just going to sell to his audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Steven Spielberg sells to his audience. The Who sells to their audience. You know, Bruce Willis sells to his audience. We all sell to our audiences. I don't understand why everyone wants to marginalize my audience all the time. And people have been doing that for years, like it's in the press and in the studios. Like whenever we would get ready to market a movie or something like that, they talk about spending money on this, that, or the other thing. I'm like, why are you putting advertisements on this channel? Why are you spending this? Like, even in the case of Clerks 2, I was like, don't spend any money. It has a 2 in the title. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers went to the first one, they're the only ones coming back. You never can convince fresh eyes to come out and see Clerks 2. And still, they spend money on it. So for me, I'm just like, I know I've got an audience and I know I can make this money back and probably do a little bit more if I don't fucking throw on all those add-on costs that come later. And those add-on costs are simply about reaching an audience. But I already reach an audience, so and I like my audience, and they like me. So I just want to keep making shit for them. And I know that must irritate a couple bloggers I saw this morning, but who keep taking me to task for like he just plays to his audience. I'm like, We all play to our audience, man. It's like, why am I penalized for that? We all, like Steven Spielberg doesn't get penalized for playing to his audience. No one's ever like, he just plays to his audience, and Steven Spielberg's like, all right, I guess I better grow as a filmmaker. I'm happy I have any fucking audience, so naturally I'm gonna play to them. Anyway, that's all that. Let's talk about the fucking movie, and I want to introduce you to a man without whom this movie wouldn't exist. 1995, I'm sitting in a theater at the Laemmle in Los Angeles, watching a preview of From Dusk Till Dawn. And the first 10 minutes of From Dusk Till Dawn, Michael Parks hits the screen, takes the screen, and owns the screen. And even though he gets killed at the end of the 10 minutes, spoiler, he made a fucking impact on me. That night, in 1995, I turned to my friend Scott Mosier. I was like, I gotta make a movie with this man. I would love to just sit on a set, watch that guy for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That'd be fantastic. It took me 15 years to accomplish it, but we're here tonight. I don't care what happens, whether we're successful or not taking the movie out by ourselves, whether it makes a lot of money, no money, if people, he's a genius, he's a fucking idiot.
I have a question for Mr. Smith. So I love the ending, the trumpets and all. I mean,
I'm sorry, were you talking?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah. Mr. Smith, yeah.
Mr. Smith is my father. And he's dead, so thanks for bringing him up. I'm sorry, what was it?
So I love the ending, and I'm just wondering, what made you want to do this film? How did it get started? What was it, kind of the genesis of it?
Like I said, I mean, I guess the true genesis is me seeing Parks in From Dusk Till Dawn, because he stayed with me. Like, when you work with, my job is to work with actors, so I love performance. That's why I do what I do. I just love watching people act. I think it's amazing. Somebody could take something on print, spit it out, make it seem like they're just saying it extemporaneously. I'm a fucking whore for actors. I love to just watch them act and shit. So this dude, when you see someone give a performance that's so off the beaten path, and he's making choices that no other actor you've ever met is making, they stick in your head. He stuck in my head for a long, long time, and I was like, I make movies about dudes running around with their hands down their pants going, nooch, so there's no real place for an actor of Michael's caliber in my movie, unless it was like, here's Silent Bob's dad, and he's like, hello. Like, that's why Bob is silent. So I didn't really make grown-up pictures, This one, aside from me seeing Parks and From Dusk Till Dawn, I guess it's about 12 years later, my friend Malcolm Ingram made a movie called Small Town Gay Bar, which played up here at the festival. And it was about, exactly the title didn't hide anything. It was about a small town gay bar in Meridian, Mississippi and whatnot, and how difficult it was to just be yourself in a community where nobody fucking wants you. And they have this bar, and that's their whole fucking social outlet. They live in their houses, and they come to this bar and unwind, and it's there. They create a family and shit. So anyway, in the documentary, Malcolm sat down with Phelps, and he used about 10 minutes in his doc. And after I watched the doc, I was like, I can't believe you sat down with that guy. What was it like? And he was like, it was fucking scary. And I said, really? He's going, yeah, because he talks like your grandfather, but he thinks like Hitler. And I was just like, wait, is there more footage? He goes, yeah, I sat down with him for an hour and 10 minutes. I think it's the longest anyone has talked to him for a while, because Phelps is getting old and stuff like that. He didn't come out to the protests. He kind of stays home more. So I was like, let me see it. Let me see the footage. And he gave me the DVD, and I watched it, and it was hands down the most terrifying thing I ever saw, because it was just like Malcolm said. He's so calm, so serene, almost sounds logical, but the shit that comes out of his mouth is hate and bile and fucking just, it's almost a performance. You're like, no human being could be this evil. It's like he's like the fucking, like Darth Vader and Voldemort had a butt baby. And so when I saw, I live in I work in the movie business, so it's a very gay world that I live in. My brother's gay, Malcolm's gay. I got a lot of gay in my world. I'm one cock in the mouth shy of being gay myself. So for me, when I watched that interview, I'm like, oh, this is the worst. Like, this guy, like, a sentiment like that, whether Phelps means it or not, whether they are truly scam artists, as some people say, or whether they're true believers, I just felt like somebody ought to take a shot at this. Like, somebody ought to kind of make a movie about this guy. He's terrifying. And at the same time, maybe cut the legs out from under a fucking hate talker like this. So I started thinking about it, and I told Malcolm, I was like, you should write it. He was like, no way. And I was like, all right, I'll write it. And I started writing. I wrote it over the course of 3 days, and I would write a bunch of pages, and then I'd send them to Malcolm. And Malcolm's like, I dare you to keep going. And I was like, all right. This whole movie was written on a dare, and I'm sure a lot of critics feel that. So I'd write and I'd send more to him, and he's like, this is awesome, this is different, where's Jay and Silent Bob? I was like, they ain't coming in this one. And then at the end, the last sequence, what you see in the movie here, the trumpets and blah, 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 and it sounds like the end of the world, and then of course we see it's not. In the original draft of the script, I got to the point where they all come outside, and Cooper is facing down John Goodman's ATF character, and you know, it happens as you see it here, but in the first draft, in the draft that I sent to Malcolm, I'd hit this point where I was just like, I'm here, now I gotta figure out what happens next. We built. And he's like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I don't know, where do you go from here, man? Maybe the rapture. And Malcolm was like, I fucking dare you to write that. So I was like, you do? And he's like, yeah. I was like, fuck you. And I wrote the rapture. So the end of the flick, at that point where Parks gets up in Goodman's face and is yelling at him, it kept going where he said his piece, and he didn't do the quite shoot me in his face, but he's like, shoot me, and he says all that shit, and then boom, his chest exploded, boom, their chests exploded, everyone's chest started exploding, ATF members' chests started exploding, the horns got even louder, John Goodman character, he's covering his head and his eyes because it's so preponderous, so fucking massive, he finally opens his eyes, everyone around him is dead, and there's one of the last Cooper clan on the sword of a giant angel. And I wrote this before I started smoking weed. And then he pulls the sword out and the dude drops and the angel just looks at Keenan's character, John Goodman. John Goodman's shocked and the angel just flies away. Goodman looks up in the sky and the 4 horsemen are riding. So Malcolm was like, I dare you to make that movie. And then 2 years later when I redrafted it, I was just like, you know what, I don't think we actually have to go that far. Let's have our cake and eat it too. Let's make it sound like the apocalypse, but then kind of play it out in the logical world, because the whole movie started playing very realistically, naturalistically. There was nothing that was that too far-fetched or anything. So it came from those two sources. It came from seeing Michael in From Dusk Till Dawn and seeing Malcolm's footage of this Phelps interview from a small-town gay bar. So without these two guys, I wouldn't be standing here. Some critics are like, you should be mad at those guys. Fuck them. I love this movie. I loved working with everyone in it. I love telling the story, and I'm going to love taking it to the people even more, man. Like, any filmmaker will tell you, there's no better feeling than fucking showing your movie to a packed house and fucking talking about it afterwards and hearing people like it, not like it, all that stuff. You know, we don't do this shit in a vacuum. It's manufactured for use. We want people to say things about it, good or bad. It's fucking art. And the idea of kind of not just ending the movie, handing it off to somebody else, staying involved, keeping the life of the movie going by being there with it when it shows time and time again. You know, over the course of the year before we do a standard kind of theatrical release, I don't know, that's just, I love that. And it's the kind of thing where if we're successful at it, other people could do it too, you know? I'm not saying like we're gonna fucking break the studio distribution model. No, that will always exist. It's big business. But there has to be something for those of us who want to tell stories that don't have stories that warrant spending $20 million in marketing on. I tell, like, look at this movie. Why would you spend $20 million to market it? Like, it's gonna appeal to who it's gonna appeal to. So for me, I'm just like, let's not spend. Let's just stay involved with the movie and not spend on it and just keep quietly making our money back and stuff and not play the big business game of like, let's fetishize the opening weekend because that's where it's all gonna happen. I don't need 3 days to make this movie work. I need a long time. So we're gonna take it out, show it all around the country and whatnot, and then finally come out traditionally.
Are you gonna show it in the Bible Belt?
Will we show it in the Bible Belt? Yeah, I mean, some of our dates on the tour, which you can look at coopersdell.com is where the tour information is. And all the dates there, I think there's 1 or 2 in the South right now, but we'll do another tour after this tour is over if it's successful. If we could sell out those shows, then we'll do another tour maybe 2 months after that, and I imagine that's when we'll start getting down into the heartland. But I'm not afraid. Like, a lot of people are like, you're going to take this to the heartland? I'm like, yeah, I don't think anybody sees themselves represented in this film except fucking Phelps. And even him, he's like, even those people, they're like, well, that's not us, it's a horror movie.
What kind of pricing do you
We got to go? Okay.
What kind of pricing do you anticipate for tickets?
For tickets, when we do the theater tours, like Radio City Music Hall, the ticket scaling is anywhere from like $35 to $75, which is kind of what people are already paying to see me just stand up and talk anyway, do Q&A. So like, you know, all this year I've done about 25 shows. So now I'm coming out, you can pay the same thing and see the movie and do the Q&A, and Parks is going to come with us and sing. It's going to be a good time. So check it out, coopersdell.com. Thank you so much for coming out.